to part 2 of Let's Play Mega Man 6. Let's jump right into it. We are going to go after DN046, Tomahawk Man. He can throw a tomahawk and hit a target of at least 30 feet away. A good point, he's brave. A bad point, he considers himself exclusive. I don't know what that means. He likes horse riding and dislikes lies. Okay, so I mentioned last time that I went after 4 very specific robot masters for a very specific reason, and that's because in Mega Man 6, Tomahawk Man, Yamato Man, Nightman, and Centaur Man operate on the Beat the Bird system. The Beat the Bird system is essentially these 4 stages, Tomahawk, Yamato, Night, and Centaur, each have a special alternate path, an alternate boss door, and an alternate boss fight. The boss fight actually isn't that alternate, but the reward you get for the boss fight, depending on which path you go on, is different. So I'm going to show in this run-through that I'm going to take the alternate path and fight Tomahawk Man and get a special reward for beating him. Basically, one of 4 beat parts. There are 4 beat parts in the game, 1 in Tomahawk, 1 in Night, 1 in Yamato, and 1 in Centaur Man stage. And you have to go down this special alternate path in order to actually collect them. And you'll recognize what this path is because it's always the most difficult path to reach. There, I said that right. It's always the most difficult path to reach. You get into that more difficult path, you get through the rest of the stage, and you take on the boss, and then you will get not just their special weapon, but you will also get one of the 4 Beat the Bird parts, and I will be collecting all 4 Beat the Bird parts. This is the first of 2 alternate paths in Tomahawk Man's stage, right here. This doesn't lead to the boss, but, you know, you have a section to either go through as Jet Mega Man, or just as regular Mega Man, if you don't have Jet Mega Man yet, so. Whew. Anyway, this section's one of the optional sections specifically designed for Jet Mega Man, but like I said, in the castle stages there will be actual obligatory areas to go through that are designed around Jet Mega Man and Power Mega Man, because you have to get these powers, and that's pretty cool. So, yeah, anyway, this is where the paths connect again, so let's show off the second path, if you don't have Jet Mega Man. You'll also notice that the palette is different. That's because in Tomahawk Man, Yamato Man, Nightman, and Centaur Man stage, the 4 stages with the Beat the Bird parts, once you beat the stage, regardless of the fact if you collected the Beat the Bird part or not, the palette of the stage changes, so all the colors change, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. That was a mouthful, but I think I got my point across. 2 paths in these next 4 stages. We're going to go down the paths that take us to the Beat the Bird parts. If we don't go down those paths, we don't get the Beat the Bird parts. Does that mean that we are not able to access them ever again? No, it does not, and I will show that after I actually beat the stage the first time. But that'll be a little later. For now, let's just let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing on screen. I do like these Metul spawners. There's a whole bunch of different sprites for the Metools and the actual thing. It's pretty cool. There's one that was sitting, you know, in the front. One that was had the helmet in. One that had the helmet up. It's pretty cool. It's a cool little enemy. Anyway, this is where the paths split, and in order to get to the actual alternate boss fight that you want to get to for the Beat the Bird parts, you have to go through the more difficult path. In this case, the path that requires you to use Jet Mega Man to get through. The other path doesn't require you to use Jet Mega Man at all, so that is considered the easy path that takes you to the regular boss that will not reward you with the Beat the Bird parts. That breakable block on the side, we'll get to that later. That's an optional little area, but it has a very, very useful power-up that we will be getting after I beat Tomahawk Man. Because we're here. This alternate path got us to Tomahawk Man quicker than the normal path, but more difficult to get to because you have to use Jet Mega Man. Whew. Okay. That wasn't such a chore. Let's take on Tomahawk Man. You know, even if you don't want to get to Beat the Bird parts and are just playing this game just to get through it, I would still not recommend that you go after Tomahawk Man first. Tomahawk Man is actually pretty difficult. He has 2 attacks. He's either going to throw the silver tomahawk right there, or he's going to throw feathers from his headdress. And both of those attacks are deceptively difficult to dodge. The Tomahawk goes up, but it doesn't go up until it's very difficult to describe and very, very difficult to dodge. I have to use an E-tank in this fight almost every time I take him on. Same thing with the when he throws the feathers from his headdress at you. They go a lot slower than you think they would. It's really, really difficult to get a grasp of. And he does a lot of damage, both contact-wise and actually hitting you with the headdress feathers or the tomahawk. So overall, very difficult. Not a boss I would go after first. I would use his weakness, which is plant barrier. Although it wastes pretty quick, so maybe get his health down a little bit, before, and then go ahead and use the plant barrier to finish him off. Anyway, as you see, we got the Silver Tomahawk and the Beat B parts. If you went the other path and went to the other boss door and fought Tomahawk Man again, you would not get the Beat B parts, as you will see in a little bit to prove my point. You'll also see the screen, we have a B over Tomahawk Man instead of the Megaman face. I'll get to that more later, but first, more palette swap goodness. Again, once you beat the stage the first time, whether you get the Beat the Bird parts or not, the palette color of the stage for Tomahawk Man, Nightman, Centaur Man, and Yamato Man changes. Whew. Okay, now let's go through the other path. Again, different palette. This is my second playthrough of the level. And let's go and check out this special little alternate area. Pretty difficult to get into, because you have to be really, really close to the block, because Power Mega Man's range on a fully charged attack, which is the only kind of attack that can break breakable blocks, is really, really short, so don't stand on the edge of the platform like I'm doing, and go to the ladder instead, and get to the very, very tippity bottom, and you'll be fine, and you'll get in there. And we'll be able to get our special reward, which is Proto Man! Hey, he left us something. This is the Energy Equalizer. The Energy Equalizer will save you a lot of trouble when it comes to collecting weapon energy. Usually, when you collect weapon energy as normal Mega Man, nothing happens, and it's considered a waste. And you have to switch to the weapon that you want to refill your weapon energy, and, come in contact with the weapon energy container and get your weapon energy back. Simple as that. But with the Weapon Energy Equalizer, all you have to do is run up as normal Mega Man, Jet Mega Man, or Power Mega Man, and it will automatically calculate which weapon energy, which special weapon has the lowest amount of weapon energy, and it will just give you the weapon energy back. So it's pretty great. Anyway, once you beat Tomahawk Man in the alternate path that gives you the Beat the Bird parts, you won't be able to fight him again, but in this footage you're seeing right here, I went back, did a second playthrough, and fought Tomahawk Man in the wrong door on purpose for the first time, not going to the special alternate path to get the Beat the Bird parts. And you'll see that once I beat him, I won't get any Beat the Bird parts. You'll also notice that once you get back out to the boss selection screen, there we go, got that right, there won't be any B over Tomahawk Man's portrait. It'll just be a black square, and the others will have the Mega Man faces and so on and so forth. But that means that you can actually go back into the stage with Jet Mega Man, take the alternate path, go to the alternate boss door, and you will still be able to fight Tomahawk Man again. This is the only time in these classic Mega Man games, besides in Mega Man 1, where you can go back and refight Robot Masters again. Specifically, Tomahawk Man, Yamato Man, Nightman, and Centaur Man, and specifically only in the alternate path boss doors to get the Beat the Bird parts. Anyway, with all that finally said and done, let's move on to Robot Master number 6, Yamato Man, or DN-048. He was designed after a Japanese warrior, and he has a great respect for Nightman. A good point, full of virility. A bad point, he's shy. He likes the Japanese sword, probably the katana, and dislikes the English language. Alright, so I hope I didn't overload you with too much information too early on about the Beat the Bird system. It's a pretty cool little system. I like how it operates in this game, and, it gave them an excuse to make more awesome alternate paths, which we're seeing one right now, that you can only get to with Power Mega Man. This path actually features an exclusive mini-boss that you will not see anywhere else in the game. So, it's pretty cool. It's not that difficult. I mean, it's just a frog. Shoots lasers, and then the guy on top occasionally shoots a couple of bombs at you, but they're pretty easy to dodge. I mean, he's dead. There's nothing to it. but we get an E-Tank for our troubles. And I believe the stage as a whole is shorter because this was the much simpler path to take. Or maybe it wasn't. Well, we'll see right now, because now that we finally connected back, we're going to go and take a look at the other path. You'll notice also the alternate palette for the Yamato Man stage, because this is my second playthrough of the stage, so this is after I beat him. Just so we can take a look at this path, although also to take a look at the palette, how it changes. Again, even if you don't get the Beat the Bird part, if you go back to Yamato Man, Nightman, Centaur Man, or Tomahawk Man stage, the palette color will be different. So the palette of the blocks, the palette of the sky, all of it will be different the second time you go around. And we get some new enemies, because these mosquitoes don't show up in the other path, as we saw, so that's neat. Oh, the chicken walkers are back from Mega Man 5. They're a lot easier in Mega Man 6 because they're not just weak in the eye. They can be hit anywhere, and they don't shoot those really powerful those really powerful lasers. It's just pellet shots, so downgrade. Anyway, right after that, right after the path connects back, it splits again. So take the more difficult to reach path with Jet Mega Man, and you will be able to get to the alternate boss door that has Yamato Man with the beat parts. If you take the other path, then you'll just get Yamato Man with no beat parts, restricting you from getting Beat the Bird at the end of the game. Oh, here we go. This is a Jet Mega Man situation. Again, a lot of things in this game are designed around Jet Mega Man and Power Mega Man, and I love that. That's great. But they were smart enough to put alternate paths, in case you weren't going to use Jet Mega Man or Power Mega Man. In case you came to this stage first and didn't have Jet Mega Man to reach this place, there's still that other alternate path for you to get through, where you would be able to, make it through the end of the stage anyway without Jet Mega Man. So, I'm rambling, but the point is I like Jet Mega Man and Power Mega Man, so there you go. And this is the alternate path, again with a different palette, because it's the second playthrough. The fishes from Plant Man stage are back, so careful of that. I don't show, but I did actually die there the first time through, because I didn't expect those fishes, and I just fell right down the hole like a rock. Because his name is... okay, it's not funny. I'm gonna shut up about jokes. Anyway, despite this, all this gushing I'm doing about alternate paths, only Yamato Man and Yamato Man and Tomahawk Man stage have super serious long alternate paths like the ones that you're seeing me display here. But anyway, I'm gonna shut up about that. Let's talk about Yamato Man. He's pretty difficult. I mean, not that difficult. He's pretty okay. He's got two attacks. He's either going to throw his Yamato spear from his spear directly, and he will have to run in order to go and pick it up and attach it to his spear again, or he is going to jump up and shoot 3 smaller Yamato spears at you that he doesn't have to go and pick up. His weakness is the Silver Tomahawk, and he does a lot of contact damage and a lot of damage with the Yamato spears. So careful with that. Overall, you could probably take him on with just the Mega Buster. I didn't do a good job this time, but in the rematches you'll see I do a much better job. I didn't do a good job of him this time, but theoretically on paper, Yamato Man really is not all that difficult, and it's probably a pretty good candidate for a first Robot Master, although I wouldn't go after him first. I wouldn't go after any of these 4 guys I'm going after now first, because they have the Beat the Bird parts, and the Beat the Bird parts are usually only accessible with the Power Adapter and the Jet Mega Man Adapter, which you only get after beating a certain amount of Robot Masters, so, The point is, take the order I'm taking, because this will ensure you get the Beat the Bird parts and all the power adapters before you move on. So that's all I'm saying. I am not on my A game today. Anyway, Nightman, or DN-044. He was designed after a night of medieval times. He has defeated more than 1,000 robots in combat. A good point, a spirit of chivalry. A bad point, a single-track mind. He likes honor and dislikes dirty tricks. Good for Nightman. Sounds like a stand-up robot if it wasn't for the fact that he's evil now. Thanks, Mr. X. Speaking of Nightman, though, he is my favorite robot master. He is my favorite designed robot master of all time. Out of all the robots from all 10 Mega Man games, technically 11, technically 12, technically 13 with Mega Man 5 for Game Boy. The point is, out of all the robots that we have fought so far, or will fight from now on, Nightman is my favorite designed one. At least for classic Mega Man, because the X series has my own favorite, and the Zero series has my own favorite, ZX has my own favorite, so. But out of the classic series, Nightman is the coolest one, I think. He just looks cool. Anyway, Nightman's stage doesn't really feature a alternate path of any kind. The alternate boss door is right at the end of the stage. It's literally right next to the normal boss door, so you don't have to worry about tracking down any alternate paths in this stage, or in Centaur Man's stage, for that matter. You just have to worry about getting through and making sure you have Power Mega Man for the end. If you don't have Power Mega Man, you won't be able to reach the alternate boss door and get the Beat the Bird parts. Besides that, though, this stage is pretty heavy on spikes. It's got those these snake charmer things. You have to hit them in the barrel first before you can start hitting their head, which is the weak point. It's not going to do any damage hitting them in the barrel, but it will get the robotic snake head to pop out, allowing you to, kill it. Eddie's back. This is one of the few situations where you can go down the ladder and come back up and get Eddie to give you something different every time. But he actually gave me an E-Tank the first time, so, I'm not going to complain. It's a pretty good item. These things take 2 hits to destroy. They get angry after the first hit, and they're going to chase you. You're going to see that showcased a lot better in Mr. X's castle, but they get angry and chase you and get really, really fast. So, make sure you use a charge shot, or, fire 2 hits, real quick, or else you're going to be in trouble, and they're going to hit you. This ending section for Nightman stage features these bouncy circles, these bouncy springs, I guess. Anyway, it's not that difficult to get to, especially with Jet Mega Man. But use Power Mega Man on this specific block. There's the normal boss door right there. The special alternate boss door is right here. It's right down here. And these ground enemies can only be destroyed with Power Mega Man's charge shot. At least I think they can. I don't think there's anything else that can destroy them. But I haven't tested it, so as of now, I only think that Power Mega Man's charge shot can destroy those ground-based enemies. Anyway, I am not on my A game today. Anyway, Nightman. This guy's actually pretty simple, and if it wasn't for the fact that he has beat parts to collect, I would say go after him first. Because as a boss, he's really not all that difficult. He has exactly one attack, and one thing he will do after that attack. He will jump at you, and when he's not jumping at you, he's going to shoot his Night Crusher at you. His Night Crusher goes out to the exact same length of distance that you are when he shoots it. So, as you see, just stand pretty close to him, let him shoot it, and then jump away in the opposite direction, and he won't be able to reach you with it. Now, what's bad is that you won't be able to hurt Nightman when he has his shield up, only when he throws his Night Crusher at you. A way around that is using the Yamato Spear, I should say. You use that and it bypasses the shield and hits him directly. But overall, Nightman is really not that difficult. If it wasn't for the fact that he had beat parts, I would say go after him first. All he does is shoot that mace to the exact same length and distance that you are when you first fire. You just jump away at the last second and just shoot him as he's drawing the mace back in and getting ready for another round. If you have the Yamato Spear, you can just bypass it entirely and, make an easy boss fight even easier. So, yeah, that's Nightman. By the way, here's the Night Crusher in action, because this is the only time I had to, plus the alternate palette for Nightman stage. Basically, if you shoot when facing right, the Night Crusher will fire and then will spin topwise and come back to you. If you're facing the left, it'll shoot, it'll spin bottomwise and come back at you. So use that to your advantage to determine when to shoot it. It's not really that big of a difference, but you know, figure it's something to talk about. Anyway, I didn't even do that good of a job of talking about it, but you saw it in action, so hopefully you get the gist of it. Centaur Man, DN042. His Centaur Flash can bend the dimensions, but a large amount of energy has to be consumed. A good point, he's decisive. A bad point, he dwells on things a bit too much. He likes gambling and dislikes whips. This guy and Bomb Man will get along, because Bomb Man's a lavish spender and Centaur Man's a gambler, so that's lavish spending right there. Gambling, I think. I should say. Anyway. Last stage, Centaur Man. This is our water level. I like the look of the stage. It's very, Greek, I guess. Oh, that's something I haven't mentioned yet. Where all the robots came from. Yeah, because I've been doing that last time. Oh, I dropped the ball on that, but I can go ahead and look that up really, really quickly. So the first guy we went after was Tomahawk Man, and he is based... he was made in the United States of America. Obviously. Yeah. Nightman was made in England. Centaur Man was actually made in Greece, so this Greek-looking level is because he came from Greece. And Yamato Man came from Japan. Pretty obvious if you look at them, but you know, I've been mentioning them, and I haven't mentioned them yet, so... I got all caught up with the beat the bird thing, so I forgot about that. Oh, these things are pretty cool. These clouds, when you hit them or when they're right above you, they will drop down and become submarines. Yeah, and they try to hit you. I don't know why I stay there and try to take them out. Guess I got mad that they got a pot shot in? I don't know. Whatever. We're almost done with the stage. This stage, like Nightman's stage, doesn't have an alternate path, but it does have two boss doors, and they're right next to each other, so you'll see that in action. Screen's weird. What's the point of making them fall? Right when I'm jumping. I mean, and not have, like, more of them fall. It's just once, and then that's it. Well, whatever. The octopus is back from Blizzard Man's stage. Still shooting ice cubes, but now in a water location, so whatever. Here's the end of the stage. There's the boss door you want to go through. You can only reach that boss door with Jet Megaman. But if you don't have Jet Megaman, then just head down the ladder or just drop down, and boom! There's the other boss door right there. But we have Jet Megaman, and we're getting all the beat the bird parts, so let's fly over and take on Centaur Man, the last robot master, and then we can go ahead and end this by going after Mr. X. Alright, here it comes. Centaur Man. We know he has an ability called the Centaur Flash, and he will be using that to the best of his abilities. It freezes you, but if you're already in the process of shooting a shot with your Mega Buster, then the shot will still get through. He does have his own Buster Shot, and it starts off as a single shot, but as soon as it hits a wall, it will spread into, I believe it's 8 different shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shots, I think? 7 or 8 shots? 7 or 8 shots. It divides into 7 or 8 shots. You have to be far enough away in order to slide under them or just, you know, run under them and take no damage at all. Yeah, just be far enough away in order not to take too much damage. Of course, it's difficult to do because Centaur Man loves to use the Centaur Flash to freeze you in place right before he does it. Which is what Centaur Flash does. It freezes you in place. So, come on. There we go. Overall, it's not that difficult. You're going to see, again, in the rematches, I do a much better job with Centaur Man. But, again, if it wasn't for the fact you didn't have beat the bird parts, then, I would say you can go after this guy pretty early on. You can go after Nightman first, and then go right after Centaur Man. He's really not that difficult, although I would have the Night Crusher on you, just in case things get a little hairy. But for beating him, we get the Centaur Flash, which is a screen nuke, and we get the Beat the Bird T-parts. We have all 4 Beat the Bird parts, which means we have unlocked Beat the Bird, and just like in Mega Man 5, Beat the Bird operates exactly the same way. You call him, he sits by your side, he flies by your side, and he destroys things really quick, as you see here. By the way, this is the different palette for Centaur Man's stage. Things are red now. Instead of purplish and greenish, now they're red. So, woohoo! That's different. Anyway, our Screen Flash Centaur Flash ability is the weakness of Windman. Windman's pretty easy without it, but if you have the Centaur Flash, then this easy boss fight becomes even easier. So let's go ahead and take on Windman with the weakness. You have to have a full bar of Centaur Flash in order to beat Windman, because it takes exactly 1 full bar of Centaur Flash to beat Windman. You're seeing the damage I'm doing versus the energy that it takes to use Centaur Flash. It's exactly the same. So you have to have a full bar of Centaur Flash in order to beat Windman with it. If not, then you're not going to be able to take down all of Windman's health. So, either whittle him down with the Centaur Flash and then finish him off with a Mega Buster, or whittle him down with a Mega Buster and then finish him off with Centaur Flash if your Centaur Flash is not at full health. That's all I've got this time. Next time, we are going to go after Mr. X and finish Mega Man 6 and finish the classic series on the NES. So, thanks so much for joining me. Hope to see you next time, and have a good day.